Putin says he pulled Russia back from the edge of the abyss. Reuters. President Vladimir Putin said on Thursday that he had pulled Russia back from the edge of the abyss. After the chaos which accompanied the fall of the Soviet Union and had built the country into a sovereign power able to stand up for itself. Putin, a former KGB spy who took the Kremlin's top job just 8 years after the 1991 fall of the Soviet Union, is the longest-serving Kremlin leader since Joseph Stalin, who died at his dacha outside Moscow in 1953 aged 74. Asked by the BBC if he had look. Below are your comments. Putin was doing great. He had a huge market, next door, for his energy products. The infrastructure was installed to distribute it. He also had a developing tourism market. All that he had to do was count the incoming money. Then he attacked Ukraine and destroyed it all. I'm sure it was difficult after the fall of the Soviet system. It is always tough to have to start all over again. The Russians started out with Gorbachev but threw him out. That was their mistake. Gorby was the best they ever had. A former world power being held in check by Ukrainian drones, infrastructure in Russia and Moscow attacked by drones, civil economy broken, forced to go on his knees for help from China, forced to eat Indian food, as only there the ruble is worth sth, Russia's ally Syria overrun. Putin has sent 1 million of his citizens to their grave and impoverish his nation over a hissy fit about having a neighboring country join a defensive alliance that has never once acted preemptively. How is that responsible leadership? If Russia is now able to stand up for itself, why had Putin suddenly become obsessed with forging an official defensive alliance with China and NK? Why has he had to obtain offensive weapons, missiles, and drones from other countries, along with adding thousands of North Korean? He pulled it back for a few years, now he is driving it full speed over a cliff to its final goodbye. His oligarch friends did very well indeed. Everyone else, not so much. By feeding the existing rival interests of political actors, he has been able to create a surprising amount of exploitable chaos. Putin pulled Russia back from the edge of the abyss, then circled back around and pushed them into a black hole by invading Ukraine and starting a completely unnecessary conflict that has completely tarnished his legacy and left Russia a pariah on the world stage. Any good work he did stabilizing Russia and bringing them back to respectability during the post-Soviet years has been flushed down the toilet. Also, Putin can chase some fantasy where Russia achieves their former relevance as a superpower. He absolutely did. And he deserves credit for that. And now he is shoving Russia right back into the abyss. And he deserves credit for that too. Every day the war in Ukraine continues, the chances of the Russian Empire collapsing and breaking up further increase. Dictators alternately pull their countries back from the abyss and push them to the brink. Keeping the populace off balance is essential to maintain their grip on power. Putin's mindset reflects a deeply ingrained obsession with the past, particularly a romanticized vision of the Soviet era. In his eyes, the restoration of military might and the pursuit of power on the global stage are the hallmarks of Russian greatness. Yet, true national strength is not measured by military conquests or a dominant presence in geopolitics. What truly defines a nation's greatness is how it nurtures its people, ensuring their freedom, liberties, and basic human rights. A nation's ethical foundation, built on integrity, fairness, and transparency, forms the bedrock of its success. Under Putin's rule, Russia may stand as a sovereign power, but it remains entangled in corruption, limited political freedoms, and a regime that values control over individual liberty. In the end, the strength of a nation is not determined by its weapons, but by the respect it earns from its citizens and the world for upholding dignity, justice, and the rights of its people. Putin only delayed the inevitable. And this Ukraine misadventure just hastened the final and formal devolution of the once mighty USSR. From a global power second only to US, into a third-rate regional power already eclipsed by China and soon even Turkey will be pulling the strings in the Caucasus. Russia could have been a great partner for Europe and the United States. They were poised to supply energy and space cooperation. The borders could have been much freer with people exchanging ideas and investments both ways. People would have flocked to the churches and the land of the czars with money in their pockets. Unfortunately, Putin wanted to punish all the countries that escaped their suffering and control the Soviet Union. He figures that he owns them. Russia had a chance in the 90s to become a democracy, perhaps eventually to even join the EU. Putin destroyed that chance by taking Russia backwards to an authoritarian state again, only this time in the fascist versus the communist model. Russian people are interesting for how much they tolerate their young people getting conscripted or sent to a war that they don't want. This generation, including Putin, needs to just go away. What an imagination. The saying, absolute power corrupts absolutely, fits this man's psyche. Russia humiliates itself. We could have taken advantage of Russia and pulverized it when it was falling apart. We did not. Your people leave you. We do not force them to break away. We do not need to use force and violence to keep our people in line. You drive them away. Just as you drove peace away by attacking your neighbors. No, Vlad, you had a country that after 30 years of hard work was finally assimilating to the VTuber. And now you're back to where you were in 1986. Great job ruining your country's chance at being a true global player. Savior? Not so much. LOL 2014 32 rubles for $1 today 103 rubles for $1 Gazprom, Russia's state-owned energy GIA. NT, likely won't recoup pre-war gas sales for a decade, Research commissioned by the company said. Pulled Russia back from the edge of freedom. If the abyss means being a democratic society with a balanced economy, and perhaps part of the EU and NATO, then he is correct. He really did pull Russia from the edge of the economic abyss. Unfortunately, he squandered that with the Ukraine war. What he really needed to do was fix their demographics. They are still facing the demographic abyss, and unless they fix that, they are still heading to ruin, which is speeding up due to the Ukraine war. Back in the USSR. Let me allow to laugh, ha ha ha. I found funny holy Russia and arrogant West. Since where is Russia, holy? Soviet Union bleep all religion at home and also in other smaller European nations who were warlib rated by Soviets. Putin, hardcore communist, suddenly became sanctimonious and now he talks about holy Russia. He might be even going to church. Perhaps. To lead unprovoked invasion in neighboring country is not a holy act, it's a crime. Create a problem, then come in to say he is the hero because he solved the problem. Maybe the problem was the close to 1 million men he has liquidated. Sooner or later their wives will get their revenge. This is why we outlawed lead-in pipes for all potable drinking water. The accumulated effects are devastating, says the man who's really the richest one in the world. Putin caused all their problems. Just think if they were truly democratic and not ruled by one man dictator. The common citizens would benefit greatly. Please subscribe to my channel. And if you like it, please thumbs up.